Hey, welcome back to another episode of Dank Boy RD. Today we are going to be making some chicken, potatoes, and asparagus. It's extremely easy, and this is for all you people who've never cooked before and are intimidated by the kitchen. You will not be intimidated by the kitchen after this simple meal, and it will give you the confidence to move forward and become a dank boy yourself. First things first, you want to make sure there's nothing in your oven before we go and preheat. So we're going to preheat our oven. Select bake. Okay. Preheat our oven to 400 degrees. So before we lay out our chicken, the first thing we're going to do is prep our oven pan. So you're going to take some olive oil and just put some olive oil on your pan. This will create a nice surface that will not stick. You can just take a paper towel and spread it around so it covers evenly. And so you have a nice thin layer of olive oil, non-stick surface. Okay, so now we have our thighs, and they're nicely and evenly spread out in a single layer on the pan. You want to make sure you have good gaps between the chicken. You do not want to overcrowd your pan because then it won't cook evenly and it won't be dank. Okay, so now we are going to season our chicken. This is pretty easy. When you're doing anything with the chicken, you want to make sure you have one hand to touch the chicken and one hand to touch your other things. You want to keep this because you don't want to be spreading salmonella all over your shit. So first we're going to coat it with some olive oil. That beeping was my oven saying it is now preheated. So we're just going to liberally coat it with some olive oil. Now take your chicken hand and just smooth it over all the chicken. Just smooth it over. You just gotta rub your chicken. Make sure you check for all the gaps between the chicken. Once it's evenly coated, then you can start to season. So first we're gonna just sprinkle some salt all over it. You know, just take a couple pinches. Just pinch it over. Actually, I'm gonna have to wash my hands here because it's good to do this by a sink. Then we're gonna add some pepper. I really like this stuff, but this is optional. Again, you can just make your own recipe for spices, whatever you like. I like to put a lot of this stuff though. That's really good. So you want to make sure it's covered on there, nice and good. And then we're gonna do the same thing to the other side. So now we got our chicken seasoned. Our oven is preheated. Maybe add a little bit more. You just want it nice and coated. Just make sure not to put too much salt. I mean, it's kind of hard to mess up thighs, but you just don't want a salty mess. So just pinches of salt. And that's good. So now we're gonna put it in the oven. If you notice, the this side of the chicken is kind of like chunkier looking than the smooth side. There's two sides of the chicken. The other side is smooth. You want to put the other side down because that's the side that the skin is on. And so you go skin side down and it won't stick as much as if you had it flipped over the other way. So we're going to take the chicken. Our oven is preheated to 400 degrees. Just stick it in the oven there. And you want to put it on the middle rack. And then we close the oven. Then we go over to our timer and we say, hey Google, set a chicken timer for 30 minutes.
Okay, chicken. For how long?
30 minutes.
Sure, a 30-minute timer called chicken. Starting now.
So yeah, that'll take roughly 30 minutes. And while that's cooking, we will start the other things. You could do this on a pan, but I decided to change my mind and I'm gonna do it in a bowl. So once you cut them, just put them in a bowl. Okay, so now we're just gonna season the potatoes, pretty similar to the way you do the chicken. I'm gonna add olive oil. As much as you like, it's kind of just a preference. But enough to coat all the potatoes. Then we're gonna put salt. I like to use kosher salt. I just think it's better than other salts. I'm gonna add pepper, which I need 2 hands to do, so I'll do that at the end. I guess I need 2 hands for all of these. I'll add a little cayenne. Cayenne, you don't need a lot of it. It adds heat. A little goes a long way with this. I like a little more on the heavier side. Gives it color, gives it flavor, kind of brings out the flavor of everything. Garlic, oh, garlic powder, yeah, because we already added salt. And then I'm gonna add the black pepper. And then you just mix it up so it's nice and evenly coated. And then when it's coated, and they're all nice and coated, you just take them and you lay them out nice and even on your pan. Okay, so now we got the potatoes nice and evenly spread out on the pan, just like the meat. You don't want them too close together. And preferably, like, you want it like skin side down, but it doesn't really matter for the potatoes. We're just gonna throw them in the oven, which is still preheated to 400 degrees. That has our chicken in it. Say hi, chicken. And then we just put it on the rack below. And then we go back to our Google. And I say, hey Google, set a potato timer for 30 minutes.
Second timer for 30 minutes. And we're starting now.
And while that's going, we're gonna wash this stuff that we made a mess with. So next up is the asparagus, which we can get on there while our chicken is cooking. I have this thing here. You might just have a pan. Either way, it doesn't really matter. We're gonna heat this thing, so get it nice and hot. If you have a pan, I would put some oil in the pan while it's heating up. And then spread it evenly around the pan. I don't know if you can see the fire, but we want it kind of a medium high heat. Okay, so now we're gonna prep the asparagus. I took the rubber band off and I gave it a nice rinse. Again, just like the potatoes, you wanna get whatever shit off of it. So what I do is I take all the asparagus. I wanna make them even, kind of get them nice and even. And you're gonna wanna cut off some of the bottom. So you're gonna, you'll see it's kind of like thicker and white. It's usually about right around here. And you just cut that shit off. Cut it all off. And just throw that away. That is garbage, and you do not want to eat it. After this, I'm going to put it into a container. You can put it in whatever container you want. You can put it on a plate for all I care. I like to put it in a Pyrex. So then I'm going to add olive oil. Not too much. Last time I overdid it. Salt. Pepper. And then I like to put a little bit of red pepper flake to give it a little bit of heat and color. Not necessary though. And then you want to just spin it around and make sure it's all evenly coated. Just like the potatoes, just like the chicken. You want it evenly coated because then it will be delicious. Now you notice, I do have a mess here. Keep that in mind. So our timer's still going. We got a good amount of time left. But we're gonna now do the asparagus. Make sure it's nice and hot and ready to cook on. I recommend, if you have an exhaust fan, to turn it on. Now you might not be able to hear me too well, but that's okay, because this is easy. You just want to lay it out. Oop. Again, like the chicken, forgive my filming, I'm doing this with one hand. Like the chicken, like the potatoes, you want to get it on there. Nice and even. You don't want to overcrowd it, like I'm kind of doing. Just make it nice and even. If you're doing it in a pan, don't throw it all in at once. You can do it in sections. Yeah, that's pretty good. Not perfect, but pretty good. That's what it looks like, and it's cooking. Usually takes 2 or 3 minutes. Aside, roughly. But anyway, I'll go over here. Set a little timer. Let's say 2 minutes. Then I'm gonna go back over here and clean this mess. So now, 2-minute timer is up. You're gonna wanna flip these around to cook on the other side. Flip them. You wanna cook both sides. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect. But you want to cook both sides. If you're doing this in a pan, I would just keep an eye on it and kind of move it around a little bit just so it doesn't burn. And watch your heat. Keep your heat kind of low. What that is. And you'll notice, even it out. We'll put maybe another 2 minutes on here. Oop. Yeah, there we go. Another 2 minutes. We're gonna go over here. So our chicken, we got about another 5-6 minutes, about 15-20 minutes left on the potatoes, and you'll notice my kitchen is clean. I have washed the dishes. I've put away my spices and my oil, and that way when I'm done cooking and I'm ready to eat, and then I'm finished eating, I will not have an enormous mess in my kitchen to clean up. Okay. The asparagus should be done. Should be done. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take one off of here. Try not to burn myself. And you wanna try to eat this part. See, I can't easily bite it. It's okay, it's still a little stringy. So I'll give it a few more minutes. Okay. When you bite it, you want it to kind of look like that, and that means it's ready to go. You just take it off the heat and put it back in the dish that you seasoned it with, because there's no raw meats, there's no juices. That way you get a little extra seasoning on it. Add it here. And now we wait. You know what that means? Our chicken timer is up. Stop! Potatoes are still going. Got about 10 minutes left on the potatoes, which is perfect because now we can check on our chicken. Doesn't that look good? It does. It looks very good. But you know, we still got about 10 minutes. I'll leave it in there for about another 5 minutes, just to be safe. Don't want to eat undercooked chicken. In 5 minutes, you're not gonna fuck up the thighs. The thighs will be fine. And while I'm waiting for that 5 minutes, I will clean this mess. Okay, so that extra 5 minutes is up, and we're gonna come take our chicken out of the oven. Now you should probably use 2 hands when you do this, but I gotta film it for you. Okay, here we go. Look at that. Looks good. Now we're gonna take these potatoes. Ooh, remove these up a rack. You wanna start to get them toasty. And we got our chicken here, which looks really good. But we wanna make sure it's cooked first. So what we're gonna do is find the thickest piece that you can find, which to me it looks like it's this one, and just cut into it. You want to make sure it's fully cooked. It's very hard to do this with one hand. But that looks really good. It's fully cooked. So we got our asparagus waiting. We got our chicken waiting, which is good because you really want to let your meat rest before you cut into it to eat. And we got just under 5 minutes remaining on our potatoes. Stop! All right. So now our potatoes should be done. Oh! Looks good. I could probably do them a little longer to get them a little more toasty. But you can just test it with a knife. Oh yeah, these are not ready. They're still kind of hard. I mean, you can cut into it, it's okay. But I would probably do another 5 minutes. Yeah, let's see. Actually, no, I'm just gonna eat one. Ooh. Ooh, no. It's hot. Ooh, that's good. So now I got my chicken, my potatoes, and asparagus. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Bon appetit, bitch. So there you have it. A delicious, simple, easy dinner that you can make. I hope that now you realize how easy cooking is and what a joy it can be. Your life will improve. Your health will improve. Your quality of life will improve. Enjoy.